Hey guys, I know it's been a while since I've posted up anything. Got busy at work and then went on vacation and ended up getting sick the day I came back. But I'm back again. This will actually be the first one, other than the intro, that I post where I'm actually just talking about something rather than actually posting a cover. Um, so let's just get to it then. I want to talk about something that I think most people have, online friends. There's people that you know but have never actually met. Always been curious why we like them so much. Because we get to stay anonymous, but I think it's mostly because we get to share anything about ourselves with these people, and we can share about ourselves and the people in our lives and not have to worry about being judged. If that person does react badly, it's a simple fix of deleting them from whatever website you're on. You can't really do that in real life. Well, okay, I mean, I guess you can, but that's called murder, and let's just stay away from that for now. I myself have a few online friends, a few more acquaintances than anything, but let's just focus on friends. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of role playing, yeah? Whatever you want to call it, there's all kinds of different versions of it. Either like an RPG or LARPing, even actors can technically just be considered role players. As you probably figured out, mentioning it, I am one of them as well. There's this website called roleplayer.me, and I have an account on there. Now, let's give you some background, because now this is where we're actually going to get into some stuff. I've been playing this character I have for about 5 years, I think. Originally, he was part of a series that I'm still currently trying to finish up, even though I've been working on it since about 2010. Why I didn't choose to play the main character of the story, I'm not really sure. Can't remember why I chose to play the brother instead. And yes, I'm a female who plays a male character. It's actually not that surprising. If you actually go on to any of these roleplay websites, you'll actually find that to be mostly true. A lot of guys have a girl behind them, or vice versa. I've met a few girl characters who've got guy writers. But looking back on it all now, I don't think I would have done it any differently. I still would have gone with the brother rather than the main character. I met a lot of people through playing this character. Some I've lost over the years because of different things that happened in both reality and in that world, but I only started it as an escape. We have all wanted an escape at one point or another, and I chose to escape into someone else's life. Now, over the past 5 years, there are a few people who have transcended as friends of my character to actual people I myself talk to. Yes, it's still all online, and I've not actually met all of these people in person, but that's just it. I can tell them about what's going on in my life. I can have someone to confide in that doesn't know the other people of the stories that I'm telling, and I can get an unbiased opinion on a lot of things. Even if I'm not looking for an opinion on something, they're still there to listen and offer help whenever they see that I might need it. When I first contemplated suicide, it was an online friend that I first confided in. Through this make-believe character, I have met some amazing friends. The only downside, I'm a writer. And if you're a true writer, you know what it's like, having just as equal of an emotional attachment to your character and what they go through as you do your own life. You yourself maybe have absolutely no reason to feel upset or down or sad or depressed, and yet you find yourself in that mood anyway because something happened to your character. I have had so many days where I just had to shut everything off and just take time for myself because I was in such a distressed state because of something that happened to my character. Not me, my life's fine, but things started crumbling apart for him, and I could not help but just feel like I was him going through all of that. That's what it is to be a writer. If you yourself don't have an attachment to this character, then your readers aren't going to have one either. You didn't make them three-dimensional, you didn't make them relatable. Now, I have gone through quite a few days where it's just hard to keep myself together because my character lost a friend or they got into a fight with someone or something happened. But over the past 5 years, this character and I have grown into each other. Through him, I have learned a lot, and I put a lot of myself into him, bringing him to life. If you don't put life into your characters, they're just, nobody's going to connect to them. You can write an amazing story, and the plot line will be great, but the characters will be lacking, so your story is ultimately going to fail. But let's go back to the friends. There's one that has stuck by me through these past years. We've had our fights in that time, and there actually are a few times where we fell out of contact with one another. But any friend has had that at least once. If you've had a friend for a long time, there was a time where a fight happened and you weren't speaking. I don't know of anyone that has had a perfect friendship with someone for any length of time except for maybe a day or two. Other than that, your personalities will eventually clash. You may end up working it out like this friend and I did, but we've shared a lot with each other. I can't honestly imagine my life without this person in it in some way, shape, or form. Even if we're no longer writing together as characters, I still have her there to talk to, and I let her know that I'm here to listen anytime that she needs it. Other than that one, there has been just one other I can't really imagine losing. This one I've only really known since August, though our characters were just becoming friends at that point, and if my memory serves correctly, they didn't really start becoming best friends until about January of this last January. In the short amount of time that I've known this person and their character, they have managed to understand me and mine better than most people I've known for years, even almost better than myself. I started out writing on different sites, but they weren't doing what I needed them to do. Now, ask any role player, and they will tell you that there's absolutely no way to write in a completely stress-free environment. There will always be someone out there screwing things up for you or trying to ruin something that you have that they want and are jealous that you got first. But with the whole deleting thing I mentioned earlier, you can at least control a little bit of it more than you can in real life. Writing is and always will be an escape for me. It is why I started role-playing in the first place, though how I found out about role-playing was by complete accident. The household that I grew up in, it felt like creativity was frowned upon. I did spend some time with my mom, like my parents got divorced when I was a kid. I did live with my dad though. I only got to visit my mom like every other weekend. So in that household with my dad's family and just interacting with them more than I did with my mom's, just felt like creativity wasn't something up on their priority list. With an overly creative imagination and mind like I've got, it was an absolute nightmare. I only saw one way out. Am I saying that my childhood was absolutely terrible? No. I know there is worse out there, and I can be counted as lucky for not having had to experience all of that bad stuff. But here's the thing, we are all different and we all have different demons. Each and every one of us are fighters though. Unfortunately, in all fights, someone has to be the loser. Sometimes it's the demon, sometimes it's you. But if you have a good support system behind you, you will definitely come out the victor. However, in order to have a good support system, you actually need to open up to people and let them know you're having problems and you need help. I myself couldn't do that, and not in the sense that I just didn't want to, but more that nobody cared to notice. Nobody cared to listen. I was drowning and no one noticed that I was underwater. So I was losing. My demons were winning over me. They had more power. And unfortunately, I was gaining a lot of them. I started writing, getting what I was feeling out on paper, but no one wanted to read anything I wrote. I was trying, I really was. Not like me just saying that I was trying and I was doing like a bullshit half-assed attempt at it. I was putting all of my effort into getting someone to listen. Nobody was. I seemed to be the only one putting in any effort into anything. Eventually, I confided with someone that I met online through role-playing, and what a breath of fresh air that actually was. Someone was finally listening, and someone was finally showing concern. Online, you can find people dealing with the same or similar demons, but even with having found someone to talk to, there was still more negativity in my life than positive things happening. So I may have found someone to offer their hand, but the current of the water I was drowning under was still stronger. Right about this time, I found roleplayer.me. I was still having problems, and that helpful friend seemed to have vanished, but this site was going to be my last shot. The other sites hadn't worked for me in means of escaping and finding some form of happiness. So I was just gonna give one last shot to something. I will admit, I had some hope that this one was gonna be my savior. I was just terrified it would crash and burn. One person, who I can't even remember how our two characters came in contact with one another or who added who. I think we ended up seeing someone, like, I think we ended up meeting through someone else's status, and we just never actually became friends. We just interacted with each other on that status, but as we started realizing that maybe our characters could become friends, we actually ended up adding one another. Can't remember who sent the official invite, but we ended up accepting one another and grew from there. They were the first ones on this site that actually reached out, and it wasn't even done on purpose. Our characters were just best friends at this point, and they were just talking. Our characters were talking, but like I said, I put a lot of my own personal issues and my personality into this character. So what they were saying to my character got to me personally. I have saved those messages, and I like to look back on them whenever I find myself feeling less than happy. I had put a lot of personal things into that character, and for this person to understand him so well in such a short amount of time was absolutely amazing. And when we started talking out of character, they understood me as well. They recognized a bunch of the signs that I had put into my character and knew that I myself probably wasn't the healthiest that I could be. I haven't really ever talked about my suicidal days to many people, but with the people I've met online since then, since the time that I had everything prepared, the note written up, I had everything ready for the time that I would be gone. From the time that all of that happened to now, meeting all of those people in between, I am actually so glad I stuck around. So though this video originally started and is mostly based on online friends, it's everyone dealing with problems out there, there is a solution. You just really have to find it, and it can be really hard, and I know how difficult it can be. I went through so many years trying to find something to hold on to. Eventually I did. Real life friends, as helpful as they can be, maybe you need to find someone else. I'm not saying don't confide in them, you absolutely should. You should find someone to confide into. And if it can't be a real life friend, you can confide into an online friend. Just open up to somebody. There's always going to be problems, but there is always going to be a solution. Every problem has one. You will never be given a problem that won't have an answer to solve it, and no, suicide is not ever going to be that answer. It's always worth sticking around. So, that was kind of a depressing ending, but you know, with the title of this video, I didn't really think that one through. So just comment down below, like maybe on a new topic that I could talk about next time, or just leave your comments on your experience with online friends. So I know that there could be online, I've run across them myself, online friends that are absolute assholes. Even worse than people that you could know in real life. They learn things about you, and not just you yourself. Like, obviously you control who you open up to out of character if you're talking to an online friend and you're a role player. You control how much they find out about you, you control what you tell them and everything about that. So if you're a role player, obviously they'll know your character first. And if you've been talking to each other for a long time, they'll know a lot about your character. So they'll attack your character first. Don't let them do that. If you ever think that something might be going on, you can always pull them aside and tell them to, like, cool it. That's actually not awesome what they're doing. If they don't listen, just delete them. Do not keep someone around that you know is going to hurt you. Now, I've had a few people tell me that I've been keeping people around on my characters' friends list that will end up hurting them, and they have been hurt in the past by the same person more than once, and I understand that, and I know it's a stupid thing to do to keep them around, but honestly, just a different story. I don't want to say that I'm different than you guys and that I know what the hell I'm doing, but there are certain people that they may be mad at you right now, and they may be trying to attack you, but don't give up hope on them just because of this one moment. But if it's a person that is kind of new to you, do not give them the power to destroy you. I have had so many close calls where people have started to attack me and my character, and it just made life even worse for me at the time that was going on because it was more than one person at a time. I was just getting bombarded by messages. So if there's ever someone who you just cannot find an opening with, if you cannot find some way to open up to them, or if you just don't think that there's a way that you can save that friendship or that connection of some whatever you've got with them, you need to get rid of them. Friends in real life too. If they're treating you like shit, you let them know or you just get out. There's no need to keep someone around like that. So, on that note, now that's kind of, I guess, a better ending than what was originally planned, I'm going to sign off. So just leave your comments below. Let's see like what new topic that we can talk about next time, or your reactions with online friends, or maybe even your own suicide stories that you find that you are so happy you stuck around. So leave your comments below, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Stay wicked.